Hey guys, welcome back to Thorough Capping. Coming at you with the early part of tomorrow's Saratoga card. I will do a video later tonight for the second part of the card, races 6 through 10. But right now I wanted to split this into two videos so we don't have one long half hour, 35-minute video to look at. So what I'm looking at here is I'm looking at races 1 through 5 at Saratoga. For no particular reason other than to just identify contenders and selections and not so much put together any tickets. Maybe in tonight's video we'll talk about some tickets we could put together structure-wise for pick fours or pick threes or whatnot. But let's dive right in. Let's look at race number 1. Race number 1 is actually a maiden special weight for 2-year-olds, and it's one of my pet peeves, but at the same time I'm trying to develop a little bit of a comfort zone in them, especially if they're mixed right into a sequence where I'm playing a pick 4 or a pick 5, and rather than just throw a bunch of numbers in, start looking for things that I look for. And what I did was I narrowed this down to 1, 2, 5, and a 7, and I'm just going to go over the reasons why. Number 1 is actually the $400,000 purchase, okay, from Uncle Mo, Sire. And I think I actually ranked him as my third, okay, 1, 2, and I'll explain why. I have the order 5, 7, 1, 2, but let's start in the order that I have them. Race 5. The 5 horse. This is a pattern that I've been watching out for, and it seems to be pretty successful. In fact, the other day when I hit that Derby Wars first place, and not Derby Wars, but Horse 20s, I'm sorry, there was a race right in that sequence, and out of the 277 entries, there might have been only about 15% used the 2 horse, and the 2 horse had this pattern here. It had a bullet work. I looked for a bullet work 3 or 4 works back, and then I looked for consistency, meaning within the last 7 to 10 days they worked out again after that. So we have 7 days here. Okay, we have another 8 days here, another 8 days here. Okay, so the horse has been working consistently. So he gave the horse a hard workout, got the bullet, consistent works up until the final work was out of the gate. Okay, so that's a pattern I look for. Bullet, consistent as far as frequency goes, and then coming off a work out of the gate and then going into the race for the first time. It helps when I see a first time starter trainer rating. Again, I look for 18% or better, but we don't get this down here. But at the same time, I made this horse my number 1. Tomorrow's theme is going to be try to beat as many favorites as I can, simply because Saratoga is known as the graveyard for favorites, so to speak. Not literally, obviously, but just a play on words. And hopefully tomorrow, and right to this point, it hasn't been that trend. That MO hasn't really stuck yet, especially yesterday. I didn't play yesterday, but looking at the results, there was a lot of favorites, a lot of chalk won yesterday. So I'm hoping this weekend the tides turn a little bit. Now let's look at the 7. The 7 is a Pletcher Ortiz. Already has a race. Stretch move, turn move, despite the bump at the break. Okay, so this horse is going to go off as the favorite, and very well may, crush this field. But 5, 7. Now we look at the 1. I talked about the 1, $400,000 purchase. Does show some bullets back here. Pretty good frequency as far as workouts go. Okay, they've been keeping this horse out on the track, bringing him out at least every 7 days. And then we went with the 2 Spirit Prints for the jockey trainer combination. Not so much this year. They've only combined. Clement and Franco have only come together twice this year. They're 1 for 2 with each other. So hopefully maybe they're starting to begin that connection that they've had in the past, where they're looking at a 23% rate in the past. So 5, 7, 2, 1 are going to be my selections in race 1. Race number 2. Now we're just going to look at the matrix. I mean the grid. Looking at the matrix factors here, the 7 stands out. Okay, we have top target, ability, second in final fraction, first in speed cumulative. And then we go over here. 7 is coming off a stretch move, and he's one of the 5 that have a trainer notation. And then when we look at the pace velocity, it's a 4.7. This is a sprint race. Okay, this is a 5.5 furlong, if I remember. No, I'm sorry. The next one is. This is a 1.1 1/8, so I am going to lean toward late speed opposed to early. But at the same time, this race has the 4 horse in it, who is the only horse that has not only run, this is the only horse that has won, not run, sorry, at the 1.1 1/8 distance, and he's coming off a 1.1 1/8 maiden claiming 5,000. Stepping up here to 50,000 starter allowance. Could be a big step up for a maiden winner. He's 9-5 morning line favorite. Again, looking to beat favorites tomorrow. So we look back again. The 7 horse is my top horse pretty much throughout. But at the same time, when I look at the 7, I see Jamie Torres, who is an apprentice, and I ask myself, does he have the ability at Saratoga to rate a horse for a 1.1 1/8? I don't know. This might be a good opportunity here, to second choice, first choice, even though I do have the 4 listed on top, maybe to squeak out a win. I mean, I did rank him 4, 7, 2, 5, simply because I don't want to get over my head here. We do have a 1.1 1/8 winner coming out, despite the fact it was maiden claiming 5,000. Linda Rice has been on fire there with anybody she uses on her mounts. Doesn't matter. 19 length win. She's first after the claim, 23%. And she's had almost a good month to, have this horse under her belt. June 29th, she's claimed. So we'll just take a look at using the 4. But I have two options here. I had 4, 7, 2, 5. But then I also had a 4, 7, 2, 3. And the reason I used the 3 was she's another Linda Rice horse. Okay. Now, both Linda Rices can't win the race. So at the same time, if I'm gonna put more credence on one of the 2, I'm gonna put it on the horse that shows me more, which is the 4. So there are 2 possibilities there. Maybe the 5 or 3 scratch out, or maybe one of these scratch out, and we'll have a solid 4 selection wise. All right, but this is what I'm looking at. Race 3, I narrowed it down to 4 contenders: 1, 2, 6, and the 7. 2 and the 7 pretty much dominate over here. The 1A is mixed in a little bit. The 1A is also coming off a turn move where nobody else is. Let's take a quick look at that turn move. Came out last race at a mile. Today's dropping back, so this horse is a cutback horse, dropping back from two turns to 1. Actually, yeah, 2 turns to 1. 2 lengths gained, 2 places gained. This comment's a little iffy. It says 4 to 3 wide pursuit, but it doesn't mention whether that was on a turn or not, so I'm not going to make that a wide move. But he's still identified as a turn mover, dropping back into a sprint race where he came out on a 1 turn last time before that and ran a fairly good race. Again, at a maiden special weight company, and that's what today is as well. So we go back to our board here. When I ran the pace figures on this, it was pretty much a 7-6. The 1A was mixing there, second sustained on the average. But what I did was I went with 7-2, 1A6. And again, you have this cushion over here because you're not set in stone. I'm not locked into making this my first choice, quote unquote, my second choice. But all I did was took my contenders and just rearrange them a little bit to where I felt I like favoritism. Let's look at the 7 real quick. The 7 that I have on top is Dylan Davis. Okay, I had to go 2 back for his pace line. I could have used the last pace line out, but again, I wanted to get some sprint numbers rather than route numbers. But he did run fairly well for the 6 furlongs in this route. Now he comes back into a sprint race. Route to sprint, not too bad, 15%. He is a beaten favorite last time out. Clement is 26%. It's a beaten favorite. And I don't know if somebody else was identified. I think maybe up here, yeah. I have the 2 identified as my speed horse at 22-1, 44-3. 2 back. But this horse here could come out, and the only reason I gave it to the 2 was because it was most recent. Seems like running style has changed a little bit here off of this layoff. But the 7 very well could come out and vie for the lead as well. So I have 7 to 1A 6 as my top plays in this race. Okay, race 4. I have 2 races in a row where I have identified as no E. There's no horse in these races that needs the lead. Okay, they're all comfortable. We have a few EPs. Okay, they're comfortable both on the lead but they can both run off the lead. But there's nobody that shows that they really going to really give it their all to go out and get the lead. And let's look at race 4 first. Race 4, we have the 1 horse dominating the matrix side along with the 2 and the 7. Okay, we have 1, 2, 7 over here. Not much going on in the qualitative end. We have the 1, 2, 3, and the 6 both have trainer mentions, and we have a drop down on the 1, 7. I do not have an early speed horse identified because of that reason that I mentioned, and we'll take a look at that in a second. I relied heavily, therefore, on the pace grids here, and the 2 horse dominates the velocity on both the early, average, sustained, and the overall. So I have them as 2, 1, 3, 7. Let's look at this race real quick, and you'll see that it is a sprint race. Yep, sorry, I'm on race 4. It's a mile. As you can see, we'll go slow here. There's nobody here flashing those 1-1s. We have a 2-1. We have a potential here. But again, he's an EP. He did run on the lead back in 21 in Delaware and won. That's where he broke his maiden at. But I mean, obviously the running style has changed since then. We have another horse that's close to the pace. In fact, he's running his first good race pretty much. Just broke his maiden. Before that, he didn't do anything. And there we go. There is no clear E horse, and the Brisnet running styles confirm that as well. So what I'm really doing here, when I get a situation like this, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for who is the best off the pace horse showing the best velocity, and that's the 2 horse. Okay, 2 horses showing the best EP, and he also shows up, where he needs to here, showing the best, tied for the best final fraction. So he's got the best EP, and he's coming off his best final fraction in this race along with the 1. So I have a 2, 1, 3, 7 as my 4 selections in race 4. Now race 5 is another no E. Okay, let's do this backwards. Let's look at race 5 first. Make sure I didn't make any mistakes. Okay, we have a potential here back in November of 22. But see, when you see this, and you see nothing after that, right, you want to ask yourself, did this horse inherit the lead? Here's a 23-1, 47-1 at the sprint distance. Again, did this horse inherit the lead? Or did he actually go after the lead? We have a right here at the mile. Again, November of 22. The two horse did go out and grab the lead. And I know there's some lightly raced horses here, but I like to see it multiple times. I like to see 1-1, 1-1, 1-1 at least 2 or 3 times. Again, you cannot say that these horses are clearly E runners, because at the first call they were length out, and then they grabbed the lead at the second call. Now, if I look at that, and if I had to guess who's going to get the lead, I think I even gave it to somebody in this race. Yeah, I said the 8 was going to get the lead, but running style wise, technically the 8 doesn't need the lead. But somebody's going to grab the lead, and I think the 8 might be the one to grab the lead here, based off of this 21-4, 44-3. I mean, it was a fast race, +6 here. But the 8 is the one I gave to as the leader. But at the same time, I'm looking at who's the best horse in a situation like this, who's showing the best EP last out, and again, that's the 8. So the 8 horse is my target horse, second in ability, shows up in speed cume, tops at 8 and overall pace, coming out of a race with a next out winner, trainer note, and my projected speed horse in a 5.5 furlong race, correct? No, 7 furlong, sorry. Still in a sprint race. So I have the 8 horse as my top, followed by the 1, the 3 because of the turn move and stretch move. We'll take a look at the 3 real fast. Coming off a race where he gained 2.5 on the turn, and he gained 1.75 on the stretch, lengthwise. So 8, 1, 3, 6 are my plays, or my selections right now in race 5. Okay, as I said, I will be coming back at you with a later video tonight for 6 through 10. All right, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you later on.